Welcome to HomeFront Sitrep. I hope you're in for a great show today, because I'm just a veteran talking about what's on my mind and maybe yours.
You can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can also check out HomeFront Sitrep's YouTube channel.
Buckle up, the show is starting. Welcome, everybody, to a Sunday edition of HomeFront Sitrep. How is everybody doing? Mr. Brandon, how are you, sir?
I was staring at the wrong camera, and like the last minute right before we came up, I was like, "Oh, this one." So that's kind of how right. I'm rolling.
Man, it's been one of those last couple of weeks. Honestly, it's just been kind of weird, man. I tell you, but it sometimes a good weird, sometimes a bad weird. Miss Candace, how are you?
I'm here.
The face.
Look, finally, I'm here. I've been on vacation and getting life together, so I'm back.
Well, welcome.
That's what you get. That's how I am.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back.
Thanks. You didn't miss me or anything.
No, I did. No,
he replaced you with me.
I know. I was.
And like, now that I'm looking at your beautiful face and I look at mine, I'm like, boy, you went down in quality, brother.
Yeah. Well, like he sent that text message earlier, and I called him. I was like, "Who is this?"
And who is this guy?
He's like, "It's Brandon," and I'm like, "Who is that?"
Right, you should just know.
For you, and I'm like, "No, you can let me know things. It's okay."
No, Brandon is going to be part of the team, just like you are.
I'm taking over.
Don't make our ratings go down. That's why we're number 2, because I was gone for 3 shows.
Oh, is that what it is?
And I was on the show last week, so that dropped the number.
Not because of Brandon, just because I wasn't here.
And that's what it is.
I kept telling him, I said, "You get a pretty face on here, we're going to get those ratings up." And we went into number 1. Yeah. And then I'm gone for 3 shows. And
I'm trying to find another pretty face, but this is all he could afford.
But no, it's been one of those things, and I don't mind being number 2 on that list. Honestly, no. Triple Threat Vets,
I love
what they do with their podcast and the people that they bring on and stuff like that, they do amazing, and those guys are awesome. They're part of the team. I mean, they're part of our team, and that's what I love. And I would love to see Brian's go up to number 4. I would love to, or number 3, and I'd love to see Travis's go up there.
Misfit Nation. Go up to 4, not 3.
I'd love for them all to go up there, because they're all doing amazing things with their podcast, and we all do it differently with this. The podcast.
Yeah,
we focus on veteran service organizations from around the country. We also bring in veteran singers, veterans songwriters. We bring in authors. All veteran related.
Yeah, but there's other things like that we tend to get our hands in with the Operation Santa, with things that are needed around the community and stuff, that the concerts, like, it's not just the grassroots. But I will say this is one thing, and it's something that we really sorry, I got distracted. That's my look. I got issues today, and that's what I'm going into right now, because it's something that we really focus on, is making sure that you ask. And I know I'm not a veteran, but I'm a huge supporter, and like, you're super cool. You're my brother. And like, you ask like how I am, and this is one of those times, like, after this podcast, you might have to ask that harder question, because
I'm all for
it. It's one of those times, and it's great that we have these resources and these people that we need to reach out to. We were joking and talking about church and stuff before we went live, and it's like, today, I think I really need it to go to church. Like, the devil is messing with me the past few days.
Yeah.
Oh, you finally get like these beautiful things going on in your life. I got this wonderful new job. We got great things going with the podcast. I have some beautiful things going on in my personal life. But let me tell you, that devil is like, I'm laughing at you right now and I'm trying to get in your head.
The devil always tries to get in your head. And you just can't let him. I mean,
well, I think we got the right guy to interview.
Absolutely.
Right in our circumstances. Because, I'm a little bit, it's been one of them weeks too.
Yeah, I've been playing a little bit off by Five Finger all day today. Like, that's my day.
Fair
enough.
When
I looked at the calendar earlier and I looked who our podcast is, I was like, you know what? There's a reason this is happening. Yeah. I am so glad that we have on who we do today.
So today we got a great guest coming on.
Super excited.
Marine Corps veteran.
Other than that, he's going to be great. I'm surrounded by 3 crown eaters on this podcast tonight. Like, I should have purple, blue, and red sitting out here.
Well, on the tip of the spear that we had,
I'm
every one of us were Marines except for Rich. Rich was the only one that wasn't a
Was Al not on there?
Al wasn't on there. Ty wasn't on there. Carol Lee wasn't on there.
And then they just threw me in the mix, and I'm like, it looks like the Brady Bunch.
What is Rich?
Rich is Army. Yeah, retired Army. Super cool cat.
Speaking of good-looking people, let's talk about our guest.
Yeah, so we got a great guest. The first book. So this guy, like I said, he's a Marine Corps veteran. He's co-founder of the Mighty Oaks Warrior Foundation, co-founder of Mighty Oaks. He's an author. He's wrote several books. I have several of them here. This one here, March or Die. That's a really good book. If you haven't read it, I would recommend reading it. He's got a bunch of small books that he wrote with Chad Robilex, which is the other co-founder. You got The Truth About PTSD. Oh, that's Resiliency. Truth About PTSD. And then this one is Not the Solution. All good books, all short reads. Then you got Offensive Faith, and then Leadership by Design as well. So without further ado, let's bring Mr. Jeremy Stalnecker up on the stage. Welcome, sir. How are you?
I'm doing all right. You guys put an awful lot on me, so I'm not sure I can help. I'm not sure I can help you all, but I will do my best. That's all.
You don't even know you already are.
So no, it's good to be with you guys. I'm excited about this. Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming on. We're glad to have you for sure. Let me get this set up here, camera wise. Trying to find one that's got bigger camera, but that'll work. But anyway, introduce yourself. Sure. I know we gave a small rundown of who you are, but introduce yourself, and I would say start with your military service, I guess.
All right. Yeah. Well, I served in the United States Marine Corps from 1996 to 2003. I was a Marine Corps Infantry Officer with First Battalion, 5th Marines, based out of Camp Pendleton here in Southern California. For those that are familiar, did a number of things. Did a 31st VIEW deployment, which is kind of a traditional float. We went to Okinawa and trained in a lot of other places. It was a fun deployment, but nothing happened. This was pre 9/11, and then 9/11 happened. The world changed. Long story short, 1-5 ended up in Kuwait in January 2003, and the 1st Marine Infantry Battalion, 1st American Military Infantry Battalion into the country of Iraq was 1-5. We breached the berm on the center axis of advance. So for those that aren't familiar, maybe everyone listening is familiar, but for those that aren't familiar, if you look south to north, so Kuwait into Iraq, there were 3 axes of advance on March 19th and 20th. To the far west was the 3rd Infantry Division of the Army. In the center was 5th Marines, and to the east was 7th Marines. And we breached the berm that night. First KIA of the war, Lieutenant Shane Childers, was one of our lieutenants. Secured the southern objective in the country, made our way to Baghdad. The Battle of Baghdad on April 10th was our kind of final big fight going into Baghdad and securing the presidential palace on the north side of the river, and then came home. And for me, we were in Iraq for some time after going into Baghdad, but when we retrograded back, we eventually made it back home. A month later, I was out of the Marine Corps, and that decision had already been made prior to that deployment, but transitioned out of the Marine Corps, and of all things, went on to a church staff. I served as an associate pastor. I was I don't know how to describe that other than kind of a guy who was there to do whatever needed to be done. Right? Had a church, the church that we had been attending in Southern California. I don't have a Bible degree, so I didn't go to be in ministry per se, like pastoral ministry, but to do projects and other things at the church. Served there for 5 years, and then ended up actually pastoring a church for another 7 years. And at that time, Mighty Oaks got started during the time that I was pastoring, and we can talk about Mighty Oaks, but I've been involved with Mighty Oaks since 2012. So that's kind of the 30,000 foot view. But after the Marine Corps, went into ministry and have been in ministry in some capacity since then. So it's been an interesting several years since 2003.
Well, so, it's kind of interesting. I'm sorry, Willis.
No, go ahead.
Jeremy, we were boots on ground together. I was there. I went from the Battle of Nasiriyah all the way down to Baghdad. So so that's interesting.
Yeah, man. So Nasiriyah, so we were not 1-5. We kind of were to the west of the city. But I remember that night, and I have a story about that night, which I won't tell the whole story, but we were sitting on the road, stopped because the entire division was focused on what was happening in Nasiriyah. That's when the Marines were killed in that Amtrak, and the POWs were taken. I mean, there's a crazy, crazy time, right? But I remember watching that and listening to all the radio traffic in my vehicle about what was happening there. And off in the distance, we could see the explosions. And what a crazy night, man. From a distance, it was a crazy night. But wow, that was quite a time.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was definitely not fun over there. That's for sure. So tell us a little bit about your transition when you got out of the Marine Corps. A lot of veterans, and Brandon can probably agree to this. When we get out, we lose that sense of purpose. We lose that camaraderie that we had while we were in the military. Yeah. What was that transition like for you when you got out?
It was not good. So if you go back to when I was probably 11 or 12 years old, I started to think about serving in the military. My dad was actually a pastor. He and my mom started a church here in Southern California. So I was raised in kind of the ministry world, but knew early on that wasn't where I wanted to end up. And I started reading books, and we had some family friends who had been in the Marine Corps. So when I was pretty young, my mind, my heart, and then eventually my life started to point toward the Marine Corps. I don't remember. I don't personally remember ever hearing about another military service. Like, I knew they existed, but that was never, people have asked me, many times over the years, why the Marine Corps? And honestly, I don't remember ever making that decision. It was just kind of like, well, if you go into the military, that's where you go, right? I know other people do things, but this is where you go. So I was like 11 or 12 years old. I remember talking to my dad when I was probably 14 about enlisting in the Marine Corps. And my dad's response was, you can do whatever you think you need to do whatever you think is right, and we'll support you in that. But we want you to go to college first. So my parents, came from a different era than I did, obviously. And both of them are very educated. Both of them have advanced college degrees, but both of them did all of that while they were, married and working and all that. So night school for both of them for like 10 years. Right. And so for me and my sisters, it was really important that, like, we're going to pay for it, but you're going to go to college. And so you enlist in the Marine Corps, do whatever you want to after that. But I got into a great commissioning program my first year in college. And so my entire life, like from the time I was old enough to make decisions, a young teenager, was pointed towards serving in the Marine Corps. Again, just like the Marine Corps wasn't really an option, neither was infantry. I thought, like, well, that's what Marines do, right? Every movie, every book, everything's like, if you're in the Marine Corps, you're an infantry guy. That's what you do, right? And so, and I felt super blessed when that MOS was given to me, right? I fought for it. I got it. Went to Infantry Officer Course, led Marines. I mean, leading a Marine rifle platoon was like an overwhelming thing for me. I remember standing in front of that platoon for the first time as a second lieutenant, like overwhelmed, like I get to do this, right? Like to lead Marines, like this is crazy. And you grow and you learn, and you even become a little disillusioned with the Marine Corps after a while. But at that moment in my life, like that was the pinnacle, right? That's what I had fought my whole life to obtain. the ripe old age of 22 or whatever.
Right.
And then did pretty well and got into a different platoon. I ended up in weapons company. I had all the heavy machine guns. I had all the anti-armor assets. I had 84 Marines. I had 18 Humvees, and we kind of task organized to go to Iraq. So things were very different than they traditionally would have been. So I ended up with like a company-sized platoon as a first lieutenant, and did this thing, right? Like this historic thing. Say what you will about Iraq, and we could argue all day about should we have been there or whatever. But on the front end of that, we like literally went into a country and took control of a country. That's any way you look at it, that's a historic event, right?
Correct.
And I got to be a part of that, and I got to lead Marines in that environment. Okay, so I say all of that to say, then I came home, and I didn't realize this at the time, but my entire identity, my whole world was wrapped up in being a Marine, and more specifically being a Marine infantry officer. And I got to be a part of something that I felt was very, very important. And I felt like I did a pretty good job. And I was super proud of that. So when we transitioned out, we came home 30 days later, I was out of the Marine Corps because I was transitioning out. The rest of the battalion went on basket leave, just got cut loose for 30 days. Right. So none of the people that I had served with, officers or enlisted, were there. They left. So I like literally like got my paperwork signed and walked away and put the uniform in the closet and then went to work at the church. And even though I had been raised in that church environment, so much of who I was at that point in my life was wrapped up in that uniform and that job and, kind of that Marine Corps ethos, right. And all of that now I'm trying to get volunteers to do their job at church, right? To do what they signed up for. I would sit in staff meetings and just get so frustrated. I always joke that the infantry is really simple because if you have a problem with a coworker, you close the door, you start screaming at each other. And when someone stops screaming, they lose. It's the guy who laughs, right? Like they win. Well, you try that on a church staff and you get thrown out of the meeting. And I had to learn that the hard way. But it was very frustrating, and I became very angry and had thoughts like I should go back and I should do this and that. And that wasn't even, I wouldn't have, even if I had stayed in, I wouldn't have deployed again. 7 months after I came home, my battalion 1-5 went back to Iraq, the first Battle of Fallujah. Those were my guys. A lot of those were my Marines. I started to hear about some of those Marines being killed and hurt. And people would use the word maybe survivor's guilt or something else. I don't know exactly what it was, other than I felt like I should be there with them, and I wasn't. Yeah. And what I was doing, even though I was working at a church, I was involved in some important things, some good things, it just seemed so like trivial, like none of this really matters. And then I would take that home, right? Because I was very disruptive at work. And then I would go home and I was a disaster at home. I mean, I was super angry and, yelling at my kids and my wife and that lasted, that really acute period lasted for about a year. My wife would say it took about 10 years for me to really kind of get control and figure a lot of this out over time. But I didn't even start trying to move forward until about 12 months after I came home, 11 or 12 months, when I was confronted by some people that cared about me. I was told by my pastor, who I was working for, that things were going to have to change, and that probably meant I'd have to go work somewhere else because I was so disruptive there. And I didn't. I stayed there, and he helped me work through that. But 2003, we weren't talking about post-traumatic stress. We weren't talking about combat trauma. These weren't conversations anyone was having, let alone the church, right, or my family. And all they knew was I was just, I was just a lunatic, right? I was out of control and, really angry and all those things. But there wasn't a name beyond that for what I was experiencing. And so it was just like, hey, we've got to figure out how to help you get control of what you're doing. And being confronted that way by people I cared about is what really set me on a path to start moving forward. But that was a very, very hard period of time. And I know it was a really long answer, but there's so much wrapped up in that. And when you look at identity and purpose and you feel like you've lost both, right? It doesn't matter where you are. You can be the best environment in the world. I was in a great environment. But if you don't have identity and purpose, it's just not going to work out very well.
I do want to ask, was John Hancock one of yours?
Hancock, yeah. Hancock was, he was man, I haven't heard that name in a long time. He was in a different platoon. He was in that rifle platoon.
Right.
But then when I transferred out, we weren't in the same platoon in Iraq. We were in the same battalion. Yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
Have you seen his documentary?
I haven't seen it. No. It just came out, right? It just came out in the last month or so.
It came out in 2020.
Oh, that's not the same one then. Because another one just came out maybe a month ago, but no, I haven't seen it.
This one's called Bastards Road.
No, I haven't seen it. Nope.
It's quite good. But yeah, I know John.
Okay.
So you had a really long answer there on your transitioning out, and you did hit the nail on the head there with, you know, when we get out, we lose that sense of purpose. We lose that
the structure,
the structure, the discipline, the camaraderie with, you know, and then you brought up to the point where 7 months later, your Marines deployed again, and you didn't want to use the word survivor's guilt, which a lot of us, when we get out and we leave a unit and get out of the military and they deploy, I don't want to. It's not really survivor's guilt, but it's. I don't know why they use
because they're still living, like,
right,
for the most of them.
But it's like,
unfortunately, but
it's like remorse that you're not there because you want to be there. That's the reason.
I felt like I had betrayed them. That's probably the better word. Like I promised to take care of these kids, right? And I promised it, and I did it, and now I'm not doing it, and they're out there by themselves doing whatever, getting hurt, being killed, and I'm not there. So yeah, it was more like I felt like I had betrayed them.
Yeah.
Which isn't rational, right? I wouldn't have been there anyhow, but it doesn't matter because that's exactly what it felt like.
Yeah. Now, what rank did you get out as? Captain. Okay. So when I was I was with 2nd Battalion 8th Marines Infantry, and I'm a lot like you. When I was very young, my granddaddy told everybody, "Hey, this guy's going in the military." I was just so 5 or 6 years old. I remember, you know, everybody saying, "Oh, you're going in the military when you get older," and it was just always instilled in me that I was going in the military. Yeah. And when I got old enough as a teenager, you know, I had family members that were in the Army. And everybody's like, "Oh, you need to go in the Army. You need to go in the Army." I was like, "No, I don't want to go in the Army. I want to go in the Marine Corps." And I don't know what made me choose the Marine Corps,
right?
But I was like, "I'm going in the Marines." So I went in and talked to Gunny Groach. He was my recruiter, and this was in 1997. Actually, 96. I started talking to the Marine Corps recruiter in 96, and he's like, "What do you want to do when you get in the Marines?" I was like, "I want to be infantry." That's what I wanted. I didn't want any other job in the Marine Corps. I was like, I want to be infantry. And I scored a 98 out on my ASVAB. And Gunny come back up to me. And he goes, "You sure you want to go infantry?" I was like, yeah, that's where I want to go. Infantry. I don't want no other job. Just send me to the infantry. And, you know, when I got out in August of 01, 9/11 happened. I called my mom because I was working a temp job at a factory. I was like, "I'm going back." I said, be ready for that Western Union. She goes, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I'm infantry. I'm going back." And sure enough, about a month later, I got that Western Union. "Please report back to Camp Lejeune for combat refresher training." And I went back, and they put us with a mobilization support battalion. We had a gunny from reserve unit in New Orleans, and he was in charge of us. He was the acting first sergeant, and you know, we did all the things that we needed to do, and then we got deployed from there. And it was definitely not fun, you know. Here I am, you know, out and on the civilian sector, and now I'm back in, and now I'm going to war, which, you know, that's kind of why I signed up for you know, in the first aspect, but no, transitioning out was very hard, especially that second time. It was harder than the first time.
Sure.
And it just, you know, I had to put my faith in the man upstairs when I got out, that he was going to lead me in the right direction. And when I got out the second time, my plan was to do 20 total, but I was going to go into the Army because I wanted to have a career after I got out of the military. And being infantry, you're only trained to do one thing. And I was like, I went and started talking to an Army recruiter, and had the paperwork all drawn up. And my current wife, because I got married like a young dumb Marine. I got married early on in my Marine Corps career and caught her cheating on me when I came back from Bridgeport, California. But I was dating my current wife, and she's like, if you go back in the military, we're done. We're over. I can't be a military spouse. But that was my decision to go back in the military. So I had the paperwork all drawn up. It was 5 years to go to Germany right off the get-go, E5 to E6, $50,000 enlistment bonus, and I was going to go into telecommunications. I had it all lined out, ready to go.
Yeah.
Me and her broke up, and paperwork got sent up to MEPS here in Louisville. The doctor who let me join the Marine Corps denied me from joining the Army. And I'm like, what do you mean I can't? Here's my 2DD 214s. I got them right here. And he goes, no, you had asthmatic symptoms as a child. I can't let you go.
But you let me be a Marine.
But you let me be a Marine.
Didn't stop you before.
Right.
Everything happens for a reason, though.
And now, 20 years later, hindsight's 2020, is the man upstairs was leading that path. That's the way I look at it. He knew my path in life was not going back in the military. My path in life was to marry the lady that I was with, have 2 beautiful children, because I have 2 beautiful daughters. They're 17 and 15, getting ready to be 16. Both of them plan on joining the military when they graduate high school.
Oh, wow.
And, and then for me to be on this podcast, helping my brothers and sisters one veteran at a time. And that was my path. And the man upstairs made that happen. So I'm very thankful for that. And,
sorry, it makes me want to share something really quick, because I posted it not that long ago, and it really relates to this, and it like through life, and then with this podcast, and what I said was, God canceled your plans to save your life. He sent you the other direction to avoid danger. He fights battles you know nothing about. His plan is better than yours. When you let him, life changes for the better. And it's something I've learned, recently through the changes that I've made, and, looking into, like, we haven't even talked about Mighty Oaks yet, and
we're getting
and what we do, but it's something that this bigger plan that we don't know anything about. When you stop fighting and you stop trying to get what you want, and just look at what's in front of you and follow that, life becomes so different. And there's so much more peace and contentment in that. And I mean, that's something I found just recently, and that's, it's very fresh and new to me since January, but realizing when you're not, just because it's not your plan and not your answer, doesn't mean it's not what's meant for you.
Your mama says it right. Our plan is not God's plan.
Right.
And that's true. And I tell my wife all the time, my wife is one of those worry warts. She worries about everything. And I'm like, babe, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. He's going to let it go however it needs to go. And, it's just, people just need to learn to, listen to their heart more than what their mind says, because he's always going to steer you right. If you follow your heart, you're always going to be steered in the right direction. So,
right.
And, before we get into Mighty Oaks, we had started a pretty good discussion backstage prior to going live.
Yes, we did.
He's like, hold on, I still got my question.
Sure. Just to fill in the minor details.
Are you ready, Jeremy?
I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do it.
I basically said that I am not a fan of organized religion. I don't, I believe in Jesus Christ. I don't believe that I have to go to church. I have past traumas. Whatever, that's fine. And a lot of people do. But
Same.
You said that you have an answer to this question, and I'm really curious to how you feel about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those are more statements than questions, I guess. So I could narrow it down, but I'll tell you why I think church is important and why, we push people organizationally. Mighty Oaks, one of the goals we have is for those who have graduated from our program to end up in a good local church in their community. And there are, some very specific reasons for that. So I'll say a couple of things, and, I'm open to any other questions or whatever, but a couple of things. One, when we talk about organized religion, I think I probably agree with that most of the time, depending on what you mean by, not you, but what one means by organized religion. When we talk about, large denominations or large organizations and those kind of things, I don't feel like or believe, looking at the New Testament, that that's what was intended when the local church was established, right? So I think the church can become a business. Church can become almost corporate in that sense, with a hierarchy and all of those things. I'm not a fan of that either. And people who are a part of any kind of ministry or church or, religious system, so that they can enrich themselves or other people or build a kingdom to themselves, I reject all of that. In fact, Jesus rejected all of that. In fact, Jesus, the Jesus of the New Testament, fought often against what we might today call organized religion, this hierarchy that kept their thumb on people. And he called this out a lot. This is why Jesus said, take my yoke upon you, for my yoke is easy, my burden is light. And when he was doing that in the context of that conversation, he was looking at the religious rulers. So, those who were in charge of organized religion. I mean, this was a crowd of people standing in front of him, and then looking to everyday people saying, look, that's not what I'm about. Okay. So on that level, I would say, yeah, I'm against organized religion in that sense too. The next thing I would say is, you're right. You don't have to go to a building or go to a church to be a Christian. I mean, the Bible, again, is very clear about that, right? A Christian is someone who understands that their sin nature, what we're all born with, it separates us from having a relationship with God. That Jesus, the Son of God, came to earth, lived a perfect, sinless life, died on the cross, took our sin on himself, paid the price for that sin. And then when he was put in a tomb, he rose 3 days later, defeating sin, defeating death, demonstrating that he's God. A Christian is someone who acknowledges all of that and then puts their hope, their faith, and their confidence in Jesus for the forgiveness of their sins. So when we talk about being a Christian, church is not in there anywhere, right?
Right.
You don't become a Christian because you go to church. A lot of people go to church who aren't Christians. A lot of Christians don't have access to church or don't go to church. Okay, so organized religion, that thing, I reject that, right? You don't have to go to church to be a Christian. I completely accept that. I would take the next step, though, and ask the question, well, then, with both of those things in mind, how important is church and why is it important? Okay, so a couple things. One, Acts chapter 20 and verse 28 says that Jesus gave his blood for the church. I mean, that's a direct quote from Acts chapter 20 and verse 28. So if Jesus Christ thought it was that important, then it should be important to us. So that's one thing. And then in the New Testament, what we see is those followers of Jesus, after Jesus ascended into heaven in Acts chapter 2, the church is established. And it says that people not only put their faith in Christ, but they were baptized and added to the church. The church, as we see it, spread in the New Testament. This is all recorded primarily in the book of Acts in the New Testament. It's local congregations, right? They didn't have media. They didn't have a lot of the things we have today, nor did they have large buildings. And so churches really were small congregations of people, local groups of people who met probably in houses or in other places, eventually in buildings. But and what did they do? The Bible, again, it tells us they had fellowship. They studied the Word of God. And then we know that served then as a place for them to go into their community and communicate the gospel to other people. So it was important to Jesus. He declared that. We see it established miraculously in Acts chapter 2. Then we see, that spreading of local churches take place. And then beyond that, we know that Christians historically have always fought to come together in small congregations in closed countries. In the first century, when they were meeting in the catacombs, local assemblies of believers coming together has always been important to Christian people. It's not what makes them Christian, but it is one of the fruits or one of the signs of Christians. They want to be together so they can hear the word of God preached and taught, so they can be encouraged and strengthened by one another, and so they can be equipped to then go into their communities and continue to communicate the gospel. So for us as an organization, we push to local church, one, because I think it's right for Christians to go to church, but two, because when someone comes through our program and then we send them home, I want them to be in a community of believers that can encourage them and strengthen them and continue to disciple them or teach them the Bible so they know how to live. So again, all of that said, I think when we talk about organized religion and church and these kind of things, we need to be clear that not every church is a good church. Not everyone who calls themselves a Christian is worth talking to or spending time with. They hurt each other, right? So we can, two things can be true at the same time, right? We can acknowledge that there are bad churches and people who portray Christ in a terrible way, but there are also, and is a long line of believers going back to Jesus Christ who have fought to spend time together, to gather together, to encourage each other, to place themselves even under spiritual authority where they can be helped. Going back to my story, if I had not been in church, and I don't mean working for church, but I mean in church, when I was struggling coming out of the Marine Corps, I have no idea where I would have been. There were men in our church who, like, there's one guy in particular. There were a lot of people. One guy in particular I think of. I'm 6'3". And I was 26 years old at the time. This guy is probably 5'5" and was in his 60s at the time. I remember him getting in my face one time after church and basically like, I've been watching you and you're out of control and you've got a family, you got this, and like just taking me down. Right. And I remember that, 20 years later, because it impacted me so strong. That happened in the context of a loving church family where a guy knew I have the right to speak into your life because you're here. And I have a responsibility to speak truth into your life. And so, I could talk about this all day, but there are a lot of reasons I think that church is important, not only because I think it's important to God, but I think it's important to us.
Yeah.
I need to surround ourselves by Christian people who are getting after it so that, we're in that community where we're held accountable, where we're being encouraging to other people, all of the things that we find as important. It's crazy that the world right now, in response to social media and isolation, are trying to find places, live gatherings where they can be encouraged and all those things. Well, Jesus gave us that a long time ago, and that's the so. That is my sermon on this Saturday evening, or Sunday evening.
Saturday, Jeremy.
Yeah, Saturday on this Sunday evening. That's my sermon for you.
I almost had this like epiphany just now, which is stupid because I don't know why. In the 20 plus years that I've worked in the veteran community and looking at the camaraderie that's missed, you guys are out, and why in my brain have I never put military and church together? Because when you look at that and you look at going to a church and you find something where you have good people and people that are truly there to support you, what better way to have that camaraderie feeling back and to have that structure? Why I've never put maybe, it's probably my personal journey. Because like I told you before we started, I was on non-speaking terms with God for 24 years. And I was shunned from a church when I had my child very young, and I was judged, and that turned me away. And so maybe that's why I've never put it together. But sitting here talking to you and not even getting into the program, but you realize how many relationships are created in that, and how much support you can find. The same way that you guys did in the military, and no matter what, you have your brother standing next to you and you're out there and
that's right,
gunfire and craziness, but somebody's got your six.
And what
thing walking into a good church.
Well, what's interesting about all of that, because I agree with everything that you just said, and to pause for a second, a church rejecting someone who's struggling or whatever, you have your child young, whatever the situation was there, I don't know what it was, that's wrong, right? And so again,
absolutely.
So two things can be true at the same time. Like and we have to come to a place in ourselves where we can sort through that. But it's okay to look at that and go, that was wrong.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that all of it's wrong, right? And so, but to your point, things like the VFW and a lot of these organizations are absolutely incredible, and I love them and I'm thankful for them. But one of the things that we've done is we call them outposts, but we're continuing to develop these, which are gatherings of people who have either been to our program or maybe they're just military people in the community. But we do our best to always attach. Okay, we do our best. It doesn't always happen. We do our best to attach them to local churches, because when you have that camaraderie, that brotherhood, right? And then you also have the ability to talk about spiritual foundations and spiritual direction and asking those big questions. Why am I here? I don't mean this to sound negative, and it will, but I don't mean it that way. But if you are at the VFW and you're encouraged to be around others, and the way you're dealing with these big questions is by just drinking it numb, that may be an answer right now, but that's not the answer.
Right.
And so if you can be around those people who get it, who come from where you come from, who know where you've been, who've been in the same place. I still go to church in Oceanside, California. That means today, just about everyone I talk to is either in the Marine Corps, has been in the Marine Corps, or whatever. So if you can have those people in your life, but then when the bottom falls out, you're pointing to the answer. There's so much power in that. And that would be true whether you're in the military or you're a single mom or you've been through something else. But if you can be in that environment where you have the support, which is that felt need, right? It's what we need right now. But then you have voices that can point you to an eternal truth. I mean, that is so powerful.
It is. So my daddy just it's weird because my mom and dad have been divorced since I was 3 years old, and they're both on here commenting. But my daddy was just saying, many veterans need that camaraderie, and I think that's why they often gravitate towards the biker community. 100%. Now, my dad is a biker, and I'll jump on a bike with him, and it's the most peaceful, special moments that we have. Now, my daddy is my hero. That's my Army veteran. And why I do everything that I do is because of that man right there. And I've been a horrible daughter because I haven't seen him in 2 months, and it's horrible. Willis, and everything that's been going on in my life, and it's crazy, and there's no excuse. So I'll see you soon, Daddy. But and he's talked lately, and he's asked me many times, trying to get into some of these biker communities, these veteran biker communities, and even if it's not veteran, just having that camaraderie. He's also mentioned, with me just getting baptized in January, his mind's kind of opening to that and saying, you know what, it makes more sense, because before, on my non-speaking terms, I was my dad's Native American. So we were very spiritual and looking into that Mother Nature and things. It was still good morals. Essentially, there just wasn't a God. But the more I've talked to him about it, his mind's opening to it. So I'm almost curious about him learning about Mighty Oaks. Just to give him that idea, or even a direction to go, or something just to put his toes in.
I mean,
so somebody like him, what would Mighty Oaks be to him? So you have somebody viewing right now that hasn't been a part of the program, because Brandon and Willis both have. So my daddy is an Army veteran who is looking for that camaraderie, looking for that group. What is something that you can tell him right now that would be of interest for something like Mighty Oaks?
So let me start with what we do, right? Okay, so we have a lot of things going on at Mighty Oaks, and we do a lot of different things. But the core thing that we do is what we call the Legacy Program. Brandon mentioned this earlier. We used to call it Fight Club. That was it was confusing, and people would show up ready to fight. So we decided, it's probably not exactly what we're going for. So we need to fight for our families and fight for our faith and fight for our future. That was where we took that from. But it's okay, it can be confusing. So let's talk about legacy. Legacy is asking the question, what am I going to leave behind? So we have the Legacy Program. We have men's programs and we have women's programs. Men do better in terms of transparency and those kind of things when they're just around men. And I think women would be the same. So we separate those programs, and we have facilities across the country of 5 different locations. They're all beautiful ranch locations, just peaceful and quiet, and kind of more conference centers. To say facility is not right, but conference center style. And a student comes and they spend 5 days with us. There's no cost for the program. We raise a lot of money so we can pay for the program. We also pay the cost of travel. So all we're asking you to do is to give us 5 days of your time. So to your question, what happens there? There are a lot of folks, and we are a faith-based organization. And so people think automatically that, well, you have to be a Christian to attend or something like that. The majority of people who attend our program are not necessarily Christians. In fact, a lot of people would say, I don't believe in God, or I'm angry at God because of something that happened in my life or in my service, or I'm kind of agnostic about it. I don't really have an opinion, but I've tried everything else. And so they end up with us because they've tried clinical programs. A lot of folks who attend our program are on medications, some more than 20 medications a day, trying to deal with anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts and a lot of these things. And so the clinical programs are available to people in our world. And so they've tried those, but they've fallen short somehow, right? For some reason, those programs, as helpful as they may have been, they've fallen short. And so when they come to us, what we do is we take a different approach. We're a non-clinical program and we're faith-based. What does that mean? It means we believe that there is God, that God is the creator, and that if he created, then he created with purpose and direction. So what we ask on the first day of the program, and Willis and Brandon could both attest to this, I hope. What we ask on the first day of the program is not for you to be like us or to convert or something. What we ask you to do is just pay attention and contrast the way that you're living today with what we want to model for you. And then throughout the week, we teach classes, but the most important thing we do is the men in the men's program, the women in the women's program, they all have been students in our program. They came through as students, and then we trained them to be able to stand and teach. The most important thing I think that happens all week is that they tell their stories. So they talk about, where they got hurt and how they felt when they came to something like a Mighty Oaks program, and why they decided to do the things that they've done. It goes something like this. I know where you are because I've been there. I've experienced the same things or something similar to what you've experienced. I don't have it all figured out, but I'm a few steps further down the road than you are right now. And I want to help you get there. It's a peer-to-peer program. And what's crazy about this, and I don't know, Candace, how old your dad is, but we have Vietnam veterans. We've had Korean War veterans come to the program. So, going back a ways, right? And it's crazy when you get veterans in a room. It doesn't matter if you're, 22 years old and you just got out of the Marine Corps or the Army or whatever, or, how old?
66.
Yeah. So it's crazy because there's this gap, right, of 40 years, but when you get in the same room, it doesn't matter. And it's nuts to see it happen, but it doesn't. Right. Because we're humans. And so we're struggling with the same thing. We're struggling with the identity thing. We're struggling with the purpose thing. And it is very much, look, I know your struggles. I have some of the same struggles for some of the same reasons. And I just want to give you an option, right? I want to give you an alternative. And I want to show you what this can look like. And you need to make your own decisions, but I want to give you a different way. And it sounds overly simplistic, but man, it is so powerful to get a bunch of people in the room who have a similar shared background, shared struggles, but are able to move forward together.
Yeah. So when I went, one of the things they said at the beginning was, this week, just have an open mind, regardless of what religion you are, regardless of whatever status you are, just have an open mind. And, I still, to this day, I talk to Kevin Schroeder and some of my other leaders that were there, because they do tell your story, their story. Jeremy King was one of my leaders there. He's got an amazing story. And to see the struggles that he went through after he got out of the military, and then how he found Mighty Oaks and stuff is, it's just amazing. Like, I try to get Jeremy on the show to tell his story. And he's just been so busy with everything that he's got going on. But no, the program, they don't force religion on you. And that's, if somebody's out there and you're listening, it's not like they're force feeding you Jesus every day. You do go through classes. I think you got a class in the morning, class in the afternoon. You got, your break in between. And these ranch settings, like the people that own the ranch. So I was at the Blaylock Ranch in Texas. Amazing people. And, we got to go ride on the ATVs. We got to go, see the countryside, during our downtime. And they would fix three square meals, and I mean, the food was phenomenal. And you would do your morning class, then you would do your, your evening class, and then you'd have your time in between. But they don't force religion. It's not like they're reading from a Bible the whole time. It was amazing.
No, but there's a guidance there, and it's a faith base that gives you this sense of hope.
Yeah,
and I don't think that that's a bad thing, even for somebody that doesn't believe.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess that's not what I was saying with Dad. Just more of a like, so he says he has a story to tell. My dad did, and with him being a veteran, you all have a story to tell, and it's all different. Everybody does it differently. It's more of like, how does somebody like him get into it? And then, so my mom was asking, is it just for veterans? Do you guys do first responders too, or is it?
Yeah, we serve veterans, active duty service members, so a lot of active duty folks, and then first responders. And that first responder field is pretty broad, right? Like, we're not going to, people ask, like, what's a first responder? I'm like, well, do you think you're a first responder? Right. And so it's a lot of police officers, a lot of firefighters, but others in the first responder world that attend the program as well. And then spouses. And so we know that, one of the most challenging things can be being married to someone who is a veteran, active duty service member or spouse. And so we want to encourage that as well.
Right. No, Mom,
yeah. So those are the folks that we serve. Yeah.
And, I liken going to Mighty Oaks, kind of like I say, like if I'm about to watch an Angel Studios movie, I know it's faith based, but man, it's good.
Yeah, that's
What's Angel Studios? Help me out.
The movie.
I'm the one that's lost in here.
Sound of Silence. The child.
They did the Chosen series, and they've done a lot of that.
Okay. What's the series? Courageous Under Fire, and there was two other movies that went with it. God, I can't. I'm gonna have to look that up now.
Wait. So how does somebody get involved? What qualifies them? How do you?
Yep. Yeah. So to be qualified, you have to fall into one of those categories: veteran, active duty service member, first responder, or spouse. I'll say this is important for the veterans in our audience here. We're one of the few programs that I'm familiar with that you still qualify even if you have an other than honorable or some kind of an admin separation, which has always been important because you need help, right? But it's more important in this post-COVID world where a lot of people have admin seps for really silly reasons. Right. So you don't have to have an honorable separation or discharge. So I say that because a lot of people are struggling. They're like, well, I can't get help from the VA or anyone else. We're happy to help. So you fall into one of those categories. All you need to do then is go to our website, mightyoaksprograms.org. At the top, biggest button is application. You apply, and then our team takes care of everything else. We have, I think this year we'll have 39 weeks of programs. Oh, wow. And so there's always something, coming up. And so if you apply, we'll work with you to figure out the best place and the best time. But that's it. I mean, that really is it. You need to apply and let us help you figure the rest of it out.
Well, if you want, Daddy, get on there.
There it is.
You heard, not him, because Daddy was honorable, but have you heard, because it's the first time I had heard it, undesirable?
No.
Like not dishonorable, not honorable, but my uncle has undesirable.
That may be other than honorable.
Like it's not dishonorable. I had never heard it before.
Did he serve in the military?
Yeah, he was Army.
I don't know. I mean, I know there are enlistment codes. I don't know what all the enlistment codes are, but there are some that won't allow you.
It was his discharge. It was his
discharge.
Undesirable.
Yeah, I'm familiar with a dishonorable discharge, but more often now it would be other than honorable. Or right now there are a lot of admin separations where it's like there's no judgment made on this, but you can't stay in the military anymore for. Yeah. I mean, the COVID shot has been the big one recently, but there are other reasons too. So,
trying to get that link so I can post it in the chat real quick. So you said it was Mighty Oaks
Programs.org. MightyOaksPrograms.org.
You got all kinds of stuff on there.
I know this one says MightyOaksPrograms.org /veteran-programs,
and then a whole paragraph after it.
So that'll take you there for sure.
All right, I'll just post it.
What are you trying to show?
the link for
Oh.
people that want to go to the program.
Oh, just put the website in there anyway.
Yeah, just put the website because there's a lot of other resources there as well.
Wonderful information on it. I was going through that earlier today, and I was like, "Wow!"
We have those 3 books that you showed too. Those 3 small books we have as free downloads on the website right now too, and so there's a lot of other great resources there. Yeah.
Because I was looking at those, and I'm like, "Which one of those books do I need to read today?"
Like yeah. Well, they're all you can get them all for free off the website.
Yeah. The 3 smaller ones.
So I showed these books earlier. I got a whole stack of books.
I got
here.
the website pulled up if you need it.
Yeah, we do too.
Yeah, I got it over here too. Right. So you've co-wrote several books, and then you've wrote some books by yourself. What was the journey like doing the book, especially the ones that you co-wrote with Chad? And stuff.
Yeah, the ones with Chad were. All 3 of those have been specific needs. So the first one we wrote together was that Path to Resiliency. And it's because the Department of Defense, a number of years ago now, put out an order talking about the 4 pillars of resiliency, and one of those being the spiritual pillar of resiliency. And so the Department of Defense, the military, is really good at saying things and not always great at follow through. And spiritual resiliency was one of those things. So we wrote that book. It's 10,000 words. You can do it. You can read it probably in an hour and a half on what it means to be spiritually resilient. So we wrote that in response to a need. The truth about PTSD. The title there, if you see that, the D is not capitalized. It's lowercase because we do our best to communicate that post-traumatic stress is real, but you're not broken or disordered if you're experiencing it. Because if you're disordered, then you can never get better. And so
I love that.
That's what that book talks about.
You did that.
And it approaches it from a kind of a biblical perspective. What does the Bible say about this? And so that's been a good resource for us. And then not the solution. That's the final one that just came out a few weeks ago. In fact, I might have sent that to you before we actually released it. And it's a free download on our website right now dealing with suicide. I have resisted writing that book for a long time because there are a lot of great resources on suicide and suicide prevention. But we wanted to, again, give something that someone could sit down and read from those who've struggled, out of the military, but also just tell me what I need to do and what I need to understand. And I think that has really helped with that. For those, again, I know not everyone who listens is a Christian, perhaps, but YouVersion is a Bible app. It's a well-known Bible app, the YouVersion Bible app, and they have devotionals on there. And they just turned Not the Solution, that book on suicide, into one of their devotionals on YouVersion for people that listen to that. So, so that was the reason. We just wanted to provide resources. We can't get everyone that needs to come to our program into our program. And so we do podcasts, we do a lot of media, we do books and, all these things to try to connect to as many people as possible. And we've had a pretty good open door. So it's been fun to do that. A lot of work, but it's awesome to connect with people on just about every plane.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
So fulfilling.
So March or Die, that's one of your latest books, right?
March or Die was my first one. That was the first book that I wrote. And that one was me. That's stories of when we were in Iraq. And then after, every chapter is some story. And then I make an application to life. So what's the life lesson from that event? And that was me just working through some of that stuff personally. I think in 12 or 13, I had a little blog and I just wrote those down again, just for me, just to process and try to learn from some of those things. Some of the Marines that I had served with, read them, liked them, and eventually it became a book. I put it all in one place, and that was that book. And so that is a very personal one to me. And I've written a lot of things, but I think that's the thing. If I had to choose, like, what am I going to keep? Right. That's the one I would keep because it just means so much to me personally.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I haven't had a chance to read. I've been so busy with everything else going on, and as you can see, I've got several books up here. And actually, so you sent me this copy, but I already had the one from when I was at Mighty Oak. So Candace is getting one of these to go home with her.
I'm excited.
And she'll probably.
I know I'm gonna have to get a copy of all of them.
She'll probably take a couple of these books home with her, so she can read them.
Address.
Yep, I'll send them out. You send me your address, I'll get you one of everything. Don't worry.
Well, there you go. There you go. But
thanks,
I'm gonna have to jump on that train too.
Yeah, send it.
I got to get some good books to read.
But no, I'm super excited because a lot of people don't want to talk about religion. They don't want to talk about politics and stuff like that. But I felt the need when they reached out to me for you to come on the show, because like I said, I don't go to church every Sunday, but I do go to church because it's something that my wife really loves. My daughters love it.
Yeah.
My youngest daughter. So when I got out of the Marine Corps, or actually go back, when I went into the Marine Corps, I had been away from church since '94 because my brother passed away at 10 years old. He died of cancer.
Wow.
So I went away from church because I was like, how can God let my brother die? He was so young.
Yeah.
And when I went into the Marine Corps, I started going to church on Sunday because I was there, and it was something that I felt like I needed to do while I was there. And when I was never baptized. So I was never baptized as a child. Long story, my mom had a falling out with a church back then, Catholic church, never got baptized. Went to the Marine Corps, started going to Catholic mass on base at Camp Lejeune, or at Parris Island. And then I continued after I got out. I wouldn't go every Sunday because either I was deployed or I was not home or whatever. And then when my current wife and I got together, she's like, hey, I'm Catholic. We're going to raise our kids Catholic. And I was like, okay, what do I need to do? She goes, well, you need to think about this, and you possibly need to go get baptized. So I went through RCIA as an adult and got baptized as a Catholic. My youngest daughter came out of the closet in 5th grade because she likes boys and girls. She not just boys, but she likes both. Well, the Catholic Church started shunning her because they have to go through that confirmation and all of that. And so the Catholic Church started shunning her. She did get her confirmation, but soon after we left the Catholic Church, and that's when we started going to Southeast Christian Church, and she felt at home there because everybody welcomed us in with open arms and stuff like that. And we were going for about a year, and she was like, both my daughters like, we want to get baptized. So we started the process and got them baptized, and then a month later, my wife was like, I want to be baptized too. So she got baptized, and then in turn we brought Candace.
No, Julie got baptized after me.
Oh, that's right.
It was a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Afterwards, she was like, "Whoa, hold on! Now I have to do it." It was this great little domino. It was wonderful.
But they're always talking about bring one person, bring one person. So our person that time was Candace, and she got baptized by my two daughters. And
because we were sitting there, and I looked at him, and I looked at you and Julie, and I said, "Will you guys baptize me?" And both of them went, "We can't." And I was like, "What? What do you mean?" Like I know that they've been going to this church and like asked me to go many times, never pushy, but like always said I was welcome. And Julie said, "The girls can." Like I turned to them, and they're like, "Yes." Like
I got baptized in a hot tub at San Luis
Obispo.
So
it's beautiful though how that happened.
So I got baptized as an adult. I didn't have the full. I can't remember if it was full immersion or not, but I think I probably could have baptized you if I had asked. I don't know. I didn't really get that far in, but I knew my daughters would love to do it for you, and it was special. And it was special for them, really special. And it's just. It's one of those things.
I know you're the only one left at Southeast Christian out of us.
Well, I'm baptized though.
Yeah, as a Catholic. And you don't even remember it.
Yeah, no, I was an adult.
But you just said you don't even remember.
Yeah,
was it full immersion?
I can't remember it because I remember getting in the baptismal font.
Sounds like it's time to go again. That sounds
and then you're gonna need to get dunked.
Maybe I might have.
They need to hold you under there till the bubbles stop.
Can I do it? Because I'll hold them under there for a while.
So, Jeremy, I have a question for you. So
Please.
You're doing all this great work with the Mighty Oaks, and you're doing wonderful things. But what's the one thing that keeps you up at night?
I love this question.
What's the one thing? Well, I wish there was one thing. There's a whole lot of things. I have 4 kids, so
there's 4 things.
I mean, there's 4 things. My son is a police officer here in our town, and so I think, I talk about how it's one thing to say everyone should go into the military or law enforcement until it's one of your kids, and then they're out there doing it, and how that changes things. He's a police officer in our town, so if you hear a siren when I know he's working, it doesn't matter where I am. I have to stop and figure out where he is. And so, that's one thing. I have a daughter who's an accountant. She lives in about an hour and a half away from us. So, these things weigh heavy in my mind for sure. I have 2 teenage kids. And so wondering about their future. So there are a lot of things. I wouldn't say they keep me up at night, but certainly those are the things that when I wake up at night, I think about and, pray about. I think, so there's those things, I guess, which would be more personal to me. But as it relates to Mighty Oaks, I mean, the thing that keeps me up at night, and I do think about this a lot, even in the middle of the night, is we need to make sure we continue to have the resources that we need and the right people in place, because there are so many people that need help. One of the conversations that we often had over the years was eventually these wars are going to wind down, right? Iraq and Afghanistan. We'll always be somewhere because we're America, so we'll always be somewhere. But these major conflicts are going to wind down. What will Mighty Oaks do after that? And I'll tell you, we have more applications now than we've ever had. We have more programs now than we've ever had. And so the fact that a lot of these conflicts are winding down doesn't mean that the men and women in uniform are not struggling and don't need help. And so the thing that keeps me up at night, I guess, as it relates to that is we need to make sure we're leaning forward all the time to make sure that we have the resources we need. We pay for the program, we pay for travel, we do all of that, but that's because people donate to support, right? And so there's that. And then it's training people to be able to tell those stories and lead those sessions and all that's involved in all of that. Just making sure that we have what we need to pull that off, because there are a lot of people that need help, a lot of people in the queue that need help.
Right.
With that being said, it's not always the wars that
no.
drama. So
no, that's exactly right.
Even if they dwindle down, if they calm down, there's still a need for our veterans and our first responders.
100%. Yeah, you're exactly right.
No wars, you still have first responders.
Well, and there's one thing I'd like to point out. It's rare to hear that you've got a female only classes, because there's.
Yeah, it's so rare. I don't think there's another one. I've looked for other programs. There are, support groups and those kind of things, but to have a program dedicated where you have 25 ladies, in a place for 5 days and being led through this program, it's very rare.
And read the room.
And it's been so powerful. What keeps me up at night, we need to make sure that continues to happen, right?
I 100% stand behind that as a NCO. I had to go in with NCIS and deal with the MST situation that was happening at the barracks, and it happens more often than not with our female veterans, and it's very, very important that they seek help. So I'm grateful that you do have a female, get the women together and then in a safe environment.
Yep.
And not to say that that's the only thing that women need help for coming out of the military. Let's not stereotype to that's the only trauma that they have either.
And a lot of it is spouses as well, right? And both our men's program and our women's program, we have spouses, but some point it's just math, right? So we have more women who are spouses, and a lot of what they're dealing with is kind of that second degree trauma, right? Or it's being with someone who's struggling so much. And then them trying to process through that personally. How do I deal now with who I am and what I've had to experience because of my spouse? So, there's an awful lot wrapped up in that for sure.
Right. And hopefully I didn't come off short. I wasn't trying to come off short-sided on the on the trauma side there, Candace.
Oh no, not at all. It's a civilian problem. Like they look at a woman veteran, and if a woman veteran says they have trauma, it's automatic. They think it's MST, and that it couldn't possibly be something else. And it's an unfortunate stereotype that society gives to our women veterans.
Well,
yes, it is more common with your female veterans, but it's not to say that it doesn't happen to the males either, because there is a small percentage, and they're not. There's so many of them that aren't going to talk about it. You go back to Vietnam era. There's so many that don't talk about it. So many men.
Like one of my good friends that I like to talk to is Jessica Lynch, and we talk about her. We're just a sounding board for each other sometimes at 3 a.m., and just the stuff that she went through and others. It's just good that somebody's focusing on, even if it's 2-3 groups a year or something, it's better than what was out there. So I definitely want to thank you for that.
Yeah.
So that makes me have another question, and it's something that you bring up all the time. What about Gold Star spouses?
We've had definitely Gold Star spouses who have come through the program. That is a unique environment. We try to be very careful with that for them. We want to make sure that they are in a healthy enough place to be able to, because they're going to hear a lot of stories as well and a lot of other things. So we don't want to cause more problems, for them. So we've had Gold Star spouses come through. We've had some who have asked to come through very shortly after losing a spouse, and we've asked them, and we've connected them to other resources. We haven't just let them, but we've asked them to give it some time first, so that they have support leading up to that, and then we can have them come through the program. But 100%, absolutely.
Okay. So there are quite a few organizations out there that deal with all veterans, whether they're male or female. But sometimes they say it's hard to separate male and female counterparts. And the good thing about Mighty Oaks, what they do is, they get all these applications for people to come, so they're able to separate. And then so they have the men's legacy program, the women's legacy program. Then they have the spousal program as well, or the married program. The married program. And like when I went through, Jeremy was like, hey, so a bunch of us went. There was 4 of us from the organization, and we went through the men's legacy program, and I was there in Blaylock Ranch. It was beautiful. I love outdoor nature wise, and it was just beautiful out there, seeing the animals wake up and stuff out during the morning hours, and then you go through the program and build that camaraderie with Kevin and Jeremy King and all those guys that were there. And then when you leave the program, they'll appoint somebody to you, which we didn't really highlight this, but they will appoint somebody to you that will reach out to you, and you can reach out to them, and that's somebody that you can keep in contact with over the years, or however long you want to. And then at the end they give you a Bible, a warrior's Bible. We haven't really talked about that either, where it's it's not like the New James Testament or whatever, the New James Bible verse. It's
New King James.
New King James, yeah, there we go. It's the Warrior's Bible, and it breaks it down and kind of marines it down. I'm going to say that it marines it down.
It does. I went through that.
For people who are in the military, it helps dumb it down, and or no, I don't want to say dumb it down.
It will guide you to what you need to look at.
Right.
It puts it in a different perspective.
Yeah.
It really just categorizes it, right? There's sections that deal with different things, and that's right.
No, I love it, and I had mine until recently. And one of my Marine buddies that I served with in 2-8 was going down a dark path. Well, Miss Candace went up to visit, and I sent it to him as a gift. I was like, hey, you need this.
Oh, great.
So I'm definitely gonna have to probably buy a new one.
Hopefully he opens it and reads it.
I hope he does.
He could use it. That was something that really excited me about the website earlier, is showing like the programs that they have, and that there's that after that you continue after they leave you, even though you're looking for that local community for them to be in when they go back home, whether that be a church or a group or some type of resource. But I think it's go under what we do.
What we do.
I think so.
The
aftercare.
Yeah,
and
we've developed that even far more since you guys came through. In the last couple of years, we've invested a lot of resources into aftercare because it is so important. It's great to have a good week, but when you go home, you're going to have the same issues you had when you left, and so we want to help you navigate those too. And so we've invested a lot in that. Yeah.
So I know there's an outpost here in Kentucky. It's in Louisville at Southeast Christian Church.
Really? For Mighty Oaks?
For Mighty Oaks. John Atchison, who's a Marine Corps veteran.
Yeah.
He's also does the Louisville Ice Warrior hockey program.
Is that the main campus?
Yes, at the main campus at Blankenbaker. And he's reached out to me a few times and said, hey, I'm going through this. And like he gave up all social media because it was like just wearing on him. And but he's still doing, the Mighty Oaks outpost there. And he says it's thriving at the main campus.
That's good.
So which is awesome. And for your daddy, if he wants to go through, the closest one to him would be Ohio, probably, because he's up in Indiana.
It's southern Indiana.
I know, but Ohio's not too far away. That would probably what's the place in Ohio? I forget the name of it.
35 minutes away from the outpost.
Probably.
Yeah, the Wilds is the location.
The Wilds, yeah. What part of Ohio is that? Do you remember?
It's outside of Columbus, like an hour outside of Columbus. The town is Zanesville, Ohio, for those that know Ohio. But
or your dad can go to Texas or California, wherever they have.
I went to the San Luis Obispo one, and let me tell you, they've got these outdoor showers, right? And you can take a nice shower and look out at the beautiful it's amazing. It was like the most beautiful thing I've seen. So I would recommend San Luis Obispo.
That's a beautiful location for sure.
I love it.
It's up in Central California. So it's actually past Robles, California, but San Luis Obispo, like on the Central Coast. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful.
What's that? Nature is nurturing.
Nature
is so nurturing.
It is.
That's a 25,000 acre ranch. So the only thing out there is that facility, and it's beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, all of them are beautiful. I know, like the Blaylock Ranch was amazing. I think is that like 500 acres, if I remember correctly.
It's like 12. It's like 1,200, I think. But because you were there, but because of where it is, it might as well be 10,000, right? There's so much space. Yeah,
there was nothing around it. I mean, it was just it was beautiful, and they have like 6 species of deer. They're all
right.
And we had like Axis sausage, so it was deer meat, but it was mixed with pork, and
look,
and
your
burgers.
Mouth is watering
it is. Like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go back.
Yeah, I would just love for my daddy to experience something like that. Like he has always been my backbone when it comes to what I do, and in the veteran community, and always supporting me. But never really went through something and experienced it for himself.
Yeah.
He's just always been my helper being the helper. And like this would be something I think would be beautiful.
Yeah, let's get it set up. Let's make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make that happen. Yeah. We'll make that happen. Now, how often do you get to go to the legacy program?
Yeah, less often than I would like. I will get to a program several times a year, but I'm there for a couple days at a time, or maybe a day at a time, just to drop in and hopefully say hi. So not as much as I would like to, for sure.
That's awesome.
Understood.
While we're sorry, like we're kind of winding down here a little bit. Why is your mouth there? I was rolling it the wrong way. I wanted to show this again because I think it's super important. And this has been a very unique podcast and a very unique conversation in the veteran world. And I hate to say that. I hate to say that this is unique and out of the norm, because it really should become more of a normal thing. And I think it's been a beautiful conversation with us and great questions and great answers. But Adelaide here, thank you, Jeremy. In a world that is rejecting religion, it is refreshing to hear you talk about it. I am enjoyed listening to you all have a good discussion about it.
I appreciate that.
And it's something that you just don't hear it. And it's almost like we need to normalize it being okay and being a common conversation. Like, it's okay to talk about God. It's okay to talk about Jesus and having faith. Because I tell you, like, even not as a veteran, as a civilian, you know, faith is a very hard thing sometimes. It's a very vulnerable thing. You know, and you talked about being in the shower looking at that lake, and talk about your most vulnerable moment there is, because I say that's when I pray. That is my most strong praying time, is when I'm in the shower, because I'm naked and I'm vulnerable. And so no matter what, I know every day, like, that's going to be part of my praying. And you know, you think about something like Brandon, like, you're sitting there and you're looking out at this nature and being a part of this faith-based program. And like, there shouldn't be something so surprising about this conversation. It shouldn't be something that's uncomfortable. We talk about everything else going on in the world and everything that's being pushed on everybody, everybody's opinions, and everybody that gets offended by things. You know, like, I think my daddy said it earlier, where you're mixing politics and religion. It's been more intertwined now in the present more than ever. And it's such a shame, because we look at things that are happening in our schools, and it's because you took church out and you put politics in. And it's an unfortunate thing. You don't mix politics and church. You just don't. And intertwining those, I think, has created so much chaos in this world, and it's sad, which has caused something that is so powerful with people's faith to be something that's shunned and shamed. And it's an unfortunate thing. It really is. And I know I fought it for many years. So, I mean, I had my daughter when I was 14. So that's why I was shunned, which I did have to look back and go, you know what? It wasn't God. It wasn't Jesus. It was the people that I was around that did me wrong. But this is something that should be normalized. And I think she's right. Like, it's beautiful. Like me sitting here listening to the three of you, and you guys experiencing this program, and you helping create this program. It's a beautiful thing, and I think should be brought more into the veteran community. Very much so.
Yeah, it's good.
No, I agree. You know, we do, like, religion is one of those things. Is religion and politics is always very hard to talk about, because everybody has a different opinion about religion. So it's one of those things. It's a hot topic.
All four of us sitting here have a different opinion about religion. We're able to have a wonderful conversation about it. This conversation, because you know, all in all, we want what's good in the world. We believe in Jesus, like, we want good things. We have great morals. I'm going to assume that and say that, because, like, I find
maybe now I do.
Like, I'm a good person, and I try to.
When I was young.
Well, but things, you know, you change and you strive better. Whatever you were when you're younger, you're always striving to be better.
Be better tomorrow than I was today.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're able to have a conversation about it.
Yeah,
it's good.
Well, Mr. Jeremy, I know we've been on here for about an hour and a half. We've touched on a little bit of everything. We've had really great conversation. We've talked about the books that you've co-written, the books that you've written. We've talked about the Mighty Oaks program. We've talked about just church in general.
I know I need to know where to send my address.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah, Willis has it.
Do you want me to send it to that email that I got?
Yeah, just send it to me. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Thank you. I'll get both of their addresses and send it to.
So what have we not talked about, Willis?
I don't know.
I felt like you were leading into something there. Like, what did we miss?
I don't think we've missed anything. Not that I can see. I mean, so Mighty Oaks, if you want a speaker for your church veteran event, you can go on to mightyoaksprograms.org, click on speakers at the top. You can request a speaker there. If you want to volunteer, you can go on the website as well, volunteer. If you want to donate, you can go donate. They also have a store, an online store that you can go get some Mighty Oaks shirts.
Get the swag.
I'm gonna have to get a new shirt.
I love it.
I was gonna wear one tonight, but I couldn't find it for some reason.
Well, I was gonna wear my Mighty Oaks shirt, but I was 20 pounds lighter when I got that shirt. So
it's time for a new one.
It's time for a new one.
I want that green one.
I know that green one's, and the
like
shirts are cool. Because it says on the back, it's got on the front, it's got the Mighty Oaks, the tree, and it says Mighty Oaks underneath of it. On the back, it says "Never Fight Alone,"
right?
Yep.
Which I wear all the time. It's probably in the laundry. That's probably why I didn't find it.
He does wear that one a lot.
I do. I love it because it's something that I always say is one veteran at a time. And Brandon asked a question to you just a minute ago: what keeps you awake at night? For me, it's missing that one veteran that might need me. That's what keeps me awake at night. And the reason we do this podcast is, for one, it's my therapy. For two, I'd like to get the information about all these grassroots veteran service organizations that are still focusing on the veteran and not worried about funding, not worried about where, you're taking my veteran from me.
Right.
That's what we want to highlight here. And I think Lily, because Lily's the one that reached out to me to have you on the show. When she reached out and she said, "Hey, I got this guy," I already knew who you were, right? And I was like, "Yeah, I definitely want him on the show." I mean, I responded pretty quickly, and no, what Mighty Oaks has done for veterans worldwide, or not, I don't want to say worldwide, but nationwide, is amazing, because they don't force religion on the veteran. They just give them the tools to be successful in whatever endeavor they go to.
Be resilient.
To be resilient.
I mean, you have two live testimonies right here. You
got their actions speak louder than words there.
I would agree, Brandon.
100%.
And I think that's great. You guys both have a personal experience with this.
It was amazing. Well, guys, I'm gonna have to get off here. I got another show.
All right, Brandon. Be good, buddy. I'll
it was a pleasure to talk to you.
Yes, you too. Yes, sir.
Bye, Brandon.
See y'all.
See you, buddy. But no, so is there anything that we didn't hit on that you wanted to talk about tonight?
I feel like we hit everything. I mean, that was a wide-ranging. People say wide-ranging conversations. That's what we just had. It was a good one. No, it was good. I mean, the only thing I would say is if you have questions, go to that website. Everything's there, and reach out, because we want to help. That's why we exist. So that's it.
So is there a spot on the website where they can find Outpost?
There is an Outpost. Yes, there is. Man, I can't think off the top of my head where it is, but if you look around on there, you will find it for sure.
I'm looking. So
all of the outposts are listed there.
How long ago did you start? You said
we started in 2012.
Okay.
So we've been at this for a little while now.
You were saying that started when you were in the church. So was this started originally through the church? Was it a church program that kind of?
No. So Chad and Kathy Robichaud, so Chad and his wife and family actually started Mighty Oaks, and I met Chad as it was getting started. I was pastoring a church at the time, and he said, "I really need help getting this thing going. Can you help me, put it together and develop it?" And so that's what happened. And I was actually pastoring for a few years after I started working with him, and Mighty Oaks got going. At the beginning, we thought this would be 3 or 4 times a year we would do this, and it just became something so much bigger. And so, so it really was a grassroots effort that has become, national, international. We do programs where we help chaplains in other countries, and just really sharing what we do here with them. And so, it's been interesting to watch over that period of time for sure.
So is it fair to say the struggles you were going through and getting back into civilian life and back into the church, is it fair to say that you found your purpose?
Yes. I mean, even before Mighty Oaks, but yes, absolutely. Okay. That's what's been interesting about Mighty Oaks is there was a moment, it was a lot of years, right, where I did have to ask myself, what was that military thing all about? I'm glad I did it. I'm proud of my service. I'm thankful for it. But was that just that? It was just that, because now I'm doing something else. The church that I was pastoring was in the San Francisco area, so not a hotbed of veterans and patriotism, right? And so what was this all about? And then Mighty Oaks really brought those things together. And that was when I looked at it and went, oh, okay, so God used this thing over here that I had to leave for a while, and this thing over here that I've been doing, and brought those together. And you know, purpose is a funny thing. I don't know that purpose is a singular, you know, effort or attempt in your life. I think your purpose, ultimately, I believe our purpose is to bring honor to God, but your specific purpose, I think, does change and shift over time throughout your life. And for me, bringing those two things together, what I was very passionate about, what I've been doing, bringing those into one, you know, kind of role, has certainly fleshed out or developed a purpose that continues to carry me forward. But yeah, for sure.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Bringing things together. Yeah.
It's always a full circle.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, he's got a plan.
Yeah.
The man upstairs has got a plan, and it might not, like your mama said, it might not be your plan, but it's his plan. And then to find the outpost, if you've been through the program or you want to think about the program, you can go to she's typing.
Sorry.
What we do, aftercare, and scroll down to the bottom, and that's where the outpost.
There you go. Yeah, I was looking for it on the website when you were talking. Like, man, I know it's there, but yes, there it is, and they're all listed. And the contact is also there. So if you're in that area, you can reach out to the main contact, and they'll help you out. And we're constantly starting new outposts. We just started a couple more in the last few weeks, so we're doing our best to continue to develop those.
Nice. No, I love it, and I love what Mighty Oaks does for veterans and first responders, Gold Star families. It's super cool. And if you're a female veteran, if you're watching, you can come on here, and if it's like this one in Marysville, Tennessee, says it's a women's outpost, and there's a few of those,
Or a spouse.
or a spouse. And so it's listed if it's a women's outpost, or if it's it don't say male, so I'm assuming the ones like in Fort Smith, Arkansas, is or is that Arizona, AR.
Don't ask me geography. A ton of women from there.
Yeah, there are a ton of women.
What's AR, Jeremy? What state is that?
It's one or the other. Either Arkansas or Arizona, I think. Arizona is AZ, right? So Arkansas,
AZ is Arizona, so it'll be Arkansas.
There you go.
So, and there is one in Lexington, Kentucky. I don't see one in Louisville.
Lexington?
Yeah, it says Lexington.
Well, you know the person at the church. Maybe that's
not. So that's Terry Cockroach. So that's in Lexington.
But I don't see the Louisville one's not necessarily an outpost at the church. It's just something that he's a part of Mighty Oak. Oh,
nope, there it is. There it is. Louisville's on there as well.
Cool.
So if you're no matter where you're at in the United States, if you don't want to go through the program at first, go to the one of the outposts and see what the outpost is about, and then make the decision to go to the legacy program, whether you're a female or male, because it's well worth it, especially if you have been in religion your whole life and you're struggling at figuring out finances. If you're struggling out, they help you do all of that.
Even if not, though, even if you haven't been in religion all your life, it's there. Like there's a guidance there, whether you're looking for that religious guidance or whatever it may be. If you're just trying to find that purpose or that structure or the camaraderie, or the resources, period. Mighty Oaks is there, and there's outposts all over the place.
Definitely. Right. Well, my friend, I think it's time to let you get back to the wife and kids and do your thing, and we're going to wrap up the show. But it was a pleasure having you on. Tell Lily thank you for reaching out to us. It's been amazing.
So thankful for that. Check that private chat. I know me and Brandon both put something in there for you.
Right. Can you see the private chat?
Yep, got it.
Awesome. But other than that, do you got any closing statements before we let you go?
No, I appreciate you all. I appreciate the work that you're doing, and encourage anyone who's interested to check us out and let us see if we can help you out.
We will definitely do that. Yeah. And thank you for coming on, and it's been our pleasure to meet you, and we'll have to hopefully meet up again in the future.
Yeah, let's do it. So, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Right, have a good night.
Thank you for what you do, and thank you for your service as well, Jeremy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye. Dude, how cool was that?
Oh, I forgot we're still live. I'm sitting here like, we are still live, right?
Yes, we are still live. How cool was that?
That was awesome. I hate to make that like a personal thing, but like I think I really needed that tonight. And there was how everything comes full circle and we come together, and both of us, honestly. I mean, you've been stressed and overwhelmed, and like this was a great.
I have a patch of hair missing because I've been stressed out, and it with finances, with everything in life.
What? You have 2 teenagers.
I do have 2 teenagers, and
that's beyond stress.
But though, I don't even equate them to being stressful.
Oh no, you're not going to. It just life happens.
It does. Life happens, and man, I tell you, that was amazing having him on here to talk about Mighty Oaks Warrior Program, and then to talk about the books that he's co-written, books that he's written. It's just amazing what Mighty Oaks does for veterans, first responders, spouses, Gold Star families. It's awesome,
and what he's doing with writing these books and the information and guidance that he's giving and anybody and everybody. Like, don't forget, those 3 small books are free on the website right now.
You go to the website, you can get them for free.
Go check that out, because those are like some powerful, very short books. That can really
to the point.
I can't get over like what Adelaide said. I just like to reread that and go, it was great. It was a great conversation. It was great listening to it. I hope that everybody listening tonight enjoyed it just as much as we did, and maybe got something from that, and something to look forward to, or somebody that you could recommend Mighty Oaks to that you may think, how many people have we talked about that we have those we need to check in on, or those that reach out because they need something, and this is a wonderful additional resource to be able to give them. Not necessarily to have to go to the ranch and do the 5-day thing, but just to check out the website.
Go check out an outpost.
Right.
I mean, go check them out. They're listed. They're everywhere. And if you're religious and you want to go through and you want to create an outpost, reach out to them, and they'll guide you through the whole step to create an outpost. There's some training along with that has to happen, but you definitely have to check it out.
I feel like those are a great thing also for maybe those that Brandon even expressed it himself, like he believes in Jesus, but he doesn't want to go to a church, and some people don't feel comfortable going to a church. Check out the outpost. Because it's giving you that feel of that camaraderie and that guidance of people that are like-minded, and give you some great direction.
For sure. And as you can see, I am wearing the HomeFront Sitrep co-branded shirt with Same Flag, Same Oath .com. Got your culture, or got your 6 culture. Got your 6 culture. I messed that up. Happy Sunday. Got your 6 culture and Same Flag, Same Oath.com. If you go to their website, sameflagsameoath.com, go to co-branded, scroll over until you find the Marine It Down shirt
and order it.
And then
take a picture of yourself.
And then take a picture and post it on, and tag Candace and I and HomeFront Sitrep on that. And then at the end of the year, what are you talking about? At the end of the year, what we're going to do when we get 25% of all sales back from sameflagsameoath.com, we're going to find all the veteran service organizations in the state of Kentucky, put them on a randomizer, and we're going to donate that money to that organization. So definitely, Brandon back. Welcome back.
What happened to your other show?
My guest canceled, so I don't have to go in 30 minutes early.
Oh man, that's not fun.
It happens. He has to, apparently some last minute family issues. So I figured I'd just come back, hang out with y'all.
Well, hi.
Well, welcome back.
Okay, so we were just talking about how great that was.
That was awesome. That was a good show.
It was a good show.
And I love that question. I almost want to ask everybody that question. What keeps you up at night?
You can't steal my Okay,
well,
yes,
you're
Jay.
gonna be on the show, so you're gonna. I love that question.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
we're 90%. We're not 100% yet, but we're 90.
we're 90. Yeah, we're not. I'm not coming on
He's not
yet.
100 yet. As a
We're not
third
at 100 yet. I got
member.
a
He's
lot
here.
going on.
He's been filling in. Okay, that's what I was. I started as a fill-in.
I left my toothbrush in the bathroom, so maybe I'm moving in.
And some pubes on the toilet seat.
No,
That was just for you in case you needed to floss.
Oh my God! This is so inappropriate for this podcast. Didn't you tell us to mind our P's and Q's?
The show's over, man.
I'm
He's
just
gone.
saying, look at my luscious face pubes.
Yeah.
I say they're pubes. Like, you got to trim that up.
No, I like it.
Look underneath.
I like it too. I like to
What is
just
this
come in there and
underneath?
pull on. Boy, we went from religion to pubes.
I
Right.
know. That's why I said this is not okay.
It's how God made me.
And you got James over here just talking crap.
I saw that.
And the VSLs cannot show up if you don't want to.
It was funny, and I read it, but I'm like, so inappropriate, but
Yeah.
so funny.
The
So-
one earlier, the conversation,
Yeah.
the text
Yeah.
earlier. This is
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good.
Yeah, that's where I told him he needed to read the room.
I think
This-
he did, and he was like, I get it.
No, he don't care.
Well, hey, James, listen, if you swallow a Viagra too slow, you get a stiff neck. So watch out. What happened?
This took a wild turn.
If it lasts more than 4 hours, call your doctor and say thank you.
No, I love it. No, what
Look,
what Mighty Oaks does for veterans and first responders is awesome.
great Marines.
We got to marine
Straighten up.
We got to marine it down a little bit. But no, man, it's yeah. That's why we do this. This podcast is because we want to help our brothers and sisters out there. And James got me all up in a tizzy up in her.
That's okay. You know what? But it was really good, really informative. I've never talked to him before. So that was quite interesting. Because it brings up memories. Man, it's been
6 years.
maybe longer. 6-7 years since I went. So
I was trying to see if it had a date on there.
Does it? Well, I don't even
know. No, mine don't have a date on it. So,
but I mean, it's just amazing. It's a great location. The way they do it. I mean, my God, all expenses paid. They
Well,
flew
you
me
were
from.
in different places.
mm-hmm.
Like you were in California. He was in
Yeah,
Texas.
well,
I
they
love
flew
for
me.
my daddy to experience that. I think that would be awesome and have
They
another.
flew me from South Carolina to freaking California. I mean, they'll get you where you need to go. I think your father would benefit quite a bit from.
Oh yeah,
going out there.
I think Marcus would definitely benefit. So you need to actually sign him up because
I'm not going to sign him up. He's got to do it himself.
Well, you need to help him.
Because if he wants to do it, he'll do it.
You need to help him.
He's not incapable.
I know.
Are you incapable? Are you still watching, Dad?
Daddy's still on.
He's
Daddy.
probably still on.
Are you still on, Daddy?
Dad?
He probably wants your help.
Daddy.
Dad, I can fit in your saddlebag. Let's go.
He does have two pretty big size saddlebags.
That's why that one guy that tuned in, he called me a gnome. Well, that's my nickname in the paranormal is the Paragnome because I'm
nice.
Weird. So
nice.
Do you have a hat?
So tomorrow we got another Marine Corps veteran. We got Jason Downing, who is
we're on Marine overload.
You
went from lady love to Marine love.
He's an author.
Oh my God, Daddy! No, Daddy, don't join them.
Thank you.
You're not even Marine.
This is how all that came to be. Marcus, you're my best friend now, buddy.
But
oh my God.
So yeah, tomorrow we got.
Okay, so he's still watching. Wait, what was the question? You asked if he was still watching.
Yeah, you're perfectly capable of filling out the paperwork, aren't you, Marcus?
He is.
I think it's a great idea.
Comment on that. He can fill out an application online.
I think he might need your help just because he wants your help.
I'd be more than happy to go help him.
I mean, go see your daddy and help him.
I need to go see him because I just need to go see him. It's not to help him do something. I just need to
go see him. Help him fill that out, and then y'all get on some two up and get some wind therapy.
If your dad's like most,
need some wind therapy.
if your dad's like most veterans, he's going to need that push to fill it out.
Yeah, because I get overwhelmed with paperwork. I can't help it. I panic.
That's because you guys are Marines.
I need to eat more
and
crayons.
You can't fill them out with crayons.
Oh, because I eat them.
See?
No, he's just saying I just need to come see him. I know what he's saying because I know that I need to go see him.
You do need to go see your daddy.
I do. I miss my daddy.
So, but no, yeah. So we got a good show coming up tomorrow. We got Mr. Jason Downing. Let me see.
You gonna be on tomorrow, Brandon?
I hadn't been invited.
I mean, you're always open.
Nobody invites me. Nobody likes me.
Oh, it's good weather now. We do need to finish the barn. And I have a new helper that would be more than happy to help you with that barn.
Go see your daddy. Fill out paperwork, build a barn, and then go ride. Yeah.
Good plan.
Yeah.
So Jason Downing wrote a book. It's called Reawakening the Warrior Spirit by Jason.
I've heard of that book.
Yeah, it's got a Spartan helmet on the front of it, and it's just exploring what it means to be a warrior in the modern West.
Who is this and where did this come from?
Thermopylae.
So Jason Downing was a guest on the Misfit Nation.
Oh, this is who we have tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Sorry, I was like, where did this come? Who are we talking about and why?
Why am I watching the show myself?
My ear things keep popping out. Look, both of you, just stop.
But no, so we got Jason Downing tomorrow,
and then we eardrops just pops right out.
No, they keep going. Boom. Like,
see, that's what I'm saying.
I just cleaned my ears.
And then on next Sunday we have Oscar Mike Radio, Travis Partington with Oscar Mike Radio. I'm super excited about that one. Then we got Michael Segru on Monday the 10th. Army veteran, police officer. I forget if you're in the HomeFront Sitrep private group. He's always posting there. It's Relentless Courage, I believe is the title of the book. So he'll be coming on. Father's Day
pictures there. He's just wearing nothing but a badge. Is that one?
Maybe.
What?
That's what I thought. Okay.
Why? We're not doing a podcast on Father's Day, right?
No, we don't have one scheduled. We might wind up doing one just all three of us on talking.
No, I'll be at my daddy's house no matter what. No, look, hands down, no matter what, on Father's Day, I will be at my daddy's house.
Well, you know what? If you're at your daddy's house,
Daddy can join on.
I would love to hear his story. His story needs to be told, and every veteran's story needs to be told. But let's start with him.
What do you think, Daddy?
And then on Monday the 17th, we got Jeff Nelligan, 4 lessons for my 3 sons.
I'm excited
we
about
got him on.
What day is that? Monday the 17th?
Monday the 17th.
He is. He's a cool, laid-back dude. I like him.
Then the 23rd, we got Back the Hero Rumble, Mr. Carl Whalen.
Oh, my God. I can't. Look, Mom knows what's going on with me today, and you can't mess with me like that. My daddy is not going to be at your house.
You know what? Why don't we have one for Monday the 24th? June. Oh, I know.
Are you serious?
I know why.
You better we got to edit this. Too bad this is live because you need to edit that. Why don't we have one?
That's my wife's birthday. Again? I had to think about it there for a minute. What month we were in? So Monday the 24th, we won't have an episode because that's my wife's birthday. And then on the 26th, we'll have our.
He's gonna be in big trouble. What are you doing over there?
I'm resting my head on my mic stand.
And then Wednesday the 26th, we got our Tip of the Spear. That will round out
Tip of the Spear.
Our June episode.
Oh, poor Brandon.
Our June episode. I'm so tired.
Oh my goodness.
But it's you know what? It's that time of night, my friend.
Hey, Brandon.
Hey, hi, Candace.
What's the one thing that keeps you up at night? You ask everybody else. Has anybody ever asked you?
Am I good enough to do what I'm doing in the veteran sector? And what can I do to read and learn or watch to learn that I can get more skills to help others survive?
I like it. I like it. Yeah. You know what time it is, though, Brandon?
It's
BetterHelp time.
There's A great commercial. Hey guys, pay attention. Look at the people. We're gonna have a pop quiz at the end. Look at the people and look at the writings. And tell me what you see.
You ready?
Roll that beautiful beam footage.
That's still powerful.
It is.
Mm.
It's not really going to be a quiz, but what I noticed is it's all. I think Willis and I noticed it last night. It's all different people. Everybody saying something different.
Absolutely.
So that means you're not alone.
Yeah.
You're more than good enough, by the way. More than good enough.
You know, it's a.
Yeah.
What keeps me up at night.
No,
that ghost hunting. Ghost hunting keeps me up at night.
Oh, yeah.
But, because that's what we do at night.
Oh, yeah. So another new segment on Homefront Sitrep is hashtag Ask Monica.
Ask Monica.
Ask Monica. If you have questions about your VA disability claim, or if you're in the process of filing a disability claim and you got a question, you can reach out to Ask Monica at askmonica0@gmail.com, and we will and Monica will answer those questions.
That was a hashtag.
It did not look like a hashtag.
Hashtag. That's the sign language for
That's the sign language for hashtag.
Yeah. Hashtag Ask Monica.
So let's play that video because Brandon's gonna be bobbing his head.
I dance.
I love that. I love the music.
Caught me.
Look, we got Bigfoot and everything going through there.
I saw Bigfoot.
Oh, look, he's coming. Here he comes.
I was telling him we have to figure out how to show us and the video at the same time. That would be great.
No, because I do stupid stuff when nobody else can see me.
That's
I don't know
okay. It's some of the greatest things for people to see.
You're killing me.
Yeah. Well, welcome to Homefront Sitrep, Brandon Cooper.
I'm
so should we just go ahead and make it official?
Yeah, you're 98%.
Okay, let's go ahead. It's official. I'll be joining Homefront Sitrep.
I love
it. I guess we're gonna branch off. I need to find a co-host.
Welcome home, Brandon.
And I think we're gonna do the damn thing because.
Oh yeah.
No, hey, if I'm free on one of those nights, I'll co-host with you if you don't have somebody. We'll just all intermingle all over the place.
Did we decide what days that you want to do?
I think it was Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Tuesdays and Thursdays?
I think.
Okay.
But, everybody stand by for that because you're going to want to tune in and look at this.
Look at that beautiful bean footage.
Oh, you know what's funny about that is before I came here, I was doing my grocery order and I got all excited because I was ordering beans because I was going to do burgers on the grill. And as soon as I brought up the beans, Kroger's giving away this new brand of baked beans for free. You have to check it out. It's called Spoon.
Spoon?
Like, you can get it free.
Like, oh my God, Willis, I love you. Spoon.
There's like applewood bacon, jalapeno something. There's several different flavors.
That's what I imagine Willis smells like.
Applewood bacon?
Applewood bacon and jalapeno.
No,
okay. James says he has a question.
I'm sure he does.
James,
are we afraid?
James, what is your question?
He wants to come on too. He's feeling left out.
I'm scared.
I'm not.
Hey, what are you looking at in that picture?
James Thornton is not somebody to be scared of ever.
What's he look? What are you looking at? Oh, you're looking at the camera. I thought you was looking away.
Who?
James.
In his little picture.
Right here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's when he thought he was a badass. No, what's your question?
Oh my God, do you have a question?
He's too busy right now to ask a question.
Okay.
You're the one that said you have a question. If you're too busy, that's your own fault.
Too busy right now.
But anyway,
what are you doing? How much wood does wood? About as much wood as a woodchuck could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
There you
Good
go.
answer.
There's your answer, James Thornton.
There's your answer. We're gonna do that. I'm gonna do my podcast like this every Tuesday and Thursday.
There you go.
Where your face can't be seen.
Have we all lost our minds? Like, I know I've lost my mind today. You knew that. I talked to you earlier.
Till he's done. Mama says till he's done.
Look, this is all for another podcast.
All for another day.
Yep. Oh, it's gonna
We gotta
be
marine
fun.
this down.
So Brandon, you got to go order you a shirt.
Yeah, I do.
Mm.
I also need to
Just
stop
go get your
eating.
crowns out and write on one.
We got our logo there, HomeFront Sitrep.
Your bullseye on the back.
Bullseye on the back.
Can I
feel
pay with
it's
a
almost
jawbone?
Can you pay with a jawbone? Probably not.
Yeah. No. Okay.
You might.
I want to know all the random things he has sitting there on his desk.
Have you seen my rocks?
Nice.
We've seen a Bigfoot. We've seen a jawbone. We've seen a rock.
Bigfoot with gnomes.
Nice. Christmas
I have more stuff. You just gotta tune in. Tune in next time to see more.
What's
of
one
what
of the
is
things
on
you
Brandon's
miss the
desk.
most, Daddy?
One of the things I miss the most. Look at that. That's cool looking gnome. Oh, hey, check this out.
Oh no! Now we're having show and tell.
Uh-oh.
All I have with me is coffee. That's all I got.
I like it. Look at
At
that.
least it's red for Marines tonight.
It's red.
It's not my color. What are you doing? What are you hiding?
I can't show you yet.
Why? What do I not see?
Scrimp cocktail.
Are you ready for this? So you like
No, I want to know what one of the things my daddy misses the most is.
so you like gnomes, right, Brandon?
Oh,
Of
no.
course, I am a gnome. Oh,
Good.
this gnome. Gnome way.
Yes. My daughter loves Elvis, and somebody got her Elvis gnome.
Oh, that's
Why is
awesome.
it down here?
I don't know what's down here.
Because it's a magical woodland creature.
My daddy said my mind.
You know, Ozzy Osbourne said that. Of all the things I miss my mind the most.
Mm. Well, it's about that time because the wife is going to go get the child, and it's time for me to get off because when she gets back, she'll be yelling at me.
Hey, last time you got off, you had a child.
This is gonna be so much fun. Can you imagine me and him co-hosting together without you?
It's
Scary, huh? You sure you want to make this official?
Yeah, it's official.
It's a fish.
I am looking forward to a Tuesday or Thursday night.
Oh
with
yeah,
Brandon and Candace.
we're straight up doing whatever we want.
Ugh.
Who's
I'll have
Breathe.
to,
Just breathe.
TMI?
I'll have to put my sign back on my desk.
Chaos coordinator. I love it. I love it.
Well, I used to be Captain Save-A-Ho, and now I'm Captain No-Ho.
Well, what do you have to say about it, Bob? It's a happy little tree.
Happy little tree.
It's a happy tree. Happy tree.
Oh man, I love it.
I think we've gone too far. It's time to pull.
Yeah, we
The
have.
sit
So-
rep has gone crazy.
Back to let's wrap this up. It was an absolutely beautiful
It was.
and wonderful conversation with Jeremy tonight. I am looking forward to personally reading some of his books and looking at the information that he shares with other that come out of his mind.
Oh, yeah.
To know that that's just, especially the what is it, the March or Die, and him talking about
Mhm.
how he put those in perspective with life things. I'm so looking forward to that. And well,
James
when you
will-
get back, we'll be gone.
Yeah, it's
Good night.
James was like, "Be right back. Gotta go pee." We'll be
Well,
gone.
It was.
Yeah,
it
we
was
ain't gonna be
a
here.
great conversation, and I have to emphasize it again with Adelaide, and it was beautiful to watch, and I'm glad that anybody that jumped on was able to experience it with us.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was great conversation.
Mm.
I want to thank Lily with what is the name of the media firm that she's with?
I don't know. She represents Jeremy, and that's what matters.
I want to say it's
Is it do?
Might be.
It's Pingo Media. So Pingo Media is who she represents. Thank her. I want to thank her for reaching out to us and having Jeremy come on. Marcus, good night.
Good night, Daddy.
We'll talk to you soon, and I'll make sure your daughter come see you.
I will see you soon. Look, I started a new job. I have tons of stuff to catch you up on.
Who you calling, me or Kate?
Who you calling?
Me calling me.
So if you guys get bored and you want to listen to music in the middle of the night with no interruptions, and you want to watch or listen to the best and unsigned veterans and their dependents, come on over to Veteran Voice Radio. We have 3 stations. We have Ranger Rockwave, which is our rock. I have everything from death metal to like indie pop. We got it all. Simplified Country. We're here in about 20 minutes. I'm about to drop 2 brand new songs that we just got in on the countryside. And we got Vet Mix, which is just like a mix of a little bit of everything. You can just listen to that and do whatever you want. But check us out at www.veteranvoiceradio.com.
In theory, my brother Theory, we're going to be getting him on Veteran Voice Radio as well.
Nice.
Yes.
So super cool, man. But it's time to end the show. Brandon, thank you for coming on. Thank you for joining the team. I can't wait to see what you are going to put together with the Tuesdays and Thursday shows. I'm ready to rock it out, and we're going to knock it out of the park, man. That's for sure. But like Candace and I always say, and I'm sure Brandon is going to jump in with us, stay safe out there. We got your 6. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this show.
Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Cannot wait to have another great show with y'all.
Don't forget you can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Stay safe out there. I got your 6.